A question that was sent to us online, and then I'll have the next person stand. For Rachel, Odd Girl Out was a life-changing read for me. Given your analysis of how men and women bully differently, what can we teach children who are watching Election 2016?
No, I'm kidding. That's a big one. That's a big question, and I appreciate that comment about Odd Girl Out. Well, first of all, interestingly, increasingly we're seeing that boys and girls are bullying quite similarly, particularly by middle school. That the behavior that we thought was exclusively the province of girls, what we've come to call the mean girl, catty behavior, is engaged in by boys. We simply weren't looking for it because of the stereotypes. It is true that girls start sooner, but boys catch up. You can insert your joke about boys being slower here. So it's just a joke, Okay. So I think that you cannot, I think a lot of us have been afraid to talk about the election, and actually at girlsleadership.org, we just published some conversation starters for how to talk to your child about the debate, and I think that is a way to go in and talk about the election. The question is, how do you talk about the election per se?
What can we teach children watching Election 26, surrounded by your analysis about how, or maybe bullying in general, since you're saying it's not so different?
I mean, I think, to be concise about this, you start talking about the difference between being assertive and being aggressive. I mean, it is an opportunity to talk about communication styles and civil discourse. And that, as my mother always says, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You should be able to say whatever you want, but you do need to do it with civility and with respect, and with respecting the dignity of everyone that you're talking to. So I think every kid needs to learn that difference. What does it mean to be assertive? What does it sound like? What is the body language? What does it mean to be aggressive? I mean, these are lessons that many of us who are educators, I mean, I teach that lesson all the time to kids. But I think that is one way. I also think it is an opportunity to talk about what it means to respect the basic dignity of another person, and at what point that line gets crossed, and that just because you are seeing it does not make it okay.
With the importance of sports in society, is there or is there not adequate gender equality in sports today? Well, I think you can just look at the purse for Wimbledon and say clearly no. I mean, that's not hard to answer. But I am curious about the changing role of sports in gender equality.
I have something to say about this really quickly. I don't want to dominate, but we do know a huge percentage of girls stop playing sports after puberty, and they do it often because of body image disturbances. And that's another issue that we've kind of gone numb to, which is the incredible pressure on girls to look a certain way, and how that can prevent them from engaging in everyday activities like sports.
It's interesting. The flip side of that, of course, is, and I'm sure you're aware of this in your work, is that often when you're asked to go for jobs that involve banking or numbers, or even probably people often want to talk about your sports experience, right? Because the corporate workplace is seen as a team. So give me an example of how you were a team player, which you're immediately behind if you stopped playing sports in middle school.
Absolutely. And I guess the short answer to that question is, I think we still have a long way to go before we have equality. We know that colleges and universities, if women stay in sports that long, really don't receive the same level of attention. And even though we have, Title IX, the reality is that the big cash cows for universities are those male sports like football and basketball, and the opportunities that women have to really take advantage and stay within them over time, I believe socially is reduced, and it is a downfall. That is an issue in which I believe having access to sports, having that experience of that sort of team building experience, the confidence that comes from being able to understand that through training and hard work, and you're able to achieve these goals, I think is a very important experience. So I wish we were doing a better job with that.
Yeah, me too. Next.